We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. I'm at the foot of Charlie. Get ready, Joe.
Now, Nigeria's space program is reputed to be among Africa's largest, with 3 satellites in orbit and an ambitious plan to send the first African astronaut into space by 2015.
Space agencies in Africa. Space has become an attractive frontier for African countries that have launched satellites based on scientific, technological, or military ambitions. There are several space research organizations that are engaged in space activities related to outer space and space exploration in Africa, with over $3 billion spent so far since the launch of NISAT 101 by Egypt in 1998. A total of 20 satellites have been launched by African states since 2016, totaling 41 satellites. Though some countries have established space agencies backed up by national laws, some countries have research centers that coordinate space activities in the country, while all satellite development and rocket launching are outsourced to space agencies outside Africa, as no African nation has developed their own launch system yet. In this video, I will be naming the most advanced space agencies in Africa and their history and achievements so far.
It's been more than 2 decades since South Africa became the first African country to launch a satellite, the Sunset 1, to space.
South Africa, South African National Space Agency. Since 2010, South Africa has had its own space agency called the South African National Space Agency, SANSA, whose mandate is to utilize data acquired from local and international satellites to avert natural disasters like drought and perform scientific explorations. In fact, South Africa has the largest and most active space technology on the continent. The program is funded by both government and private entities and uses several satellites to remotely sense potential disasters such as droughts and floods, as well as carrying out environmental studies. South Africa is the first African country to have real astronauts. In the 1980s, work on the development of a launcher and a satellite had been in progress but was discontinued after 1994. In 1999, South Africa launched its first satellite, Sunsat, from Vandenberg Air Force Base in the US. A second satellite, Sombala Dilasat, was launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan in 2009. 3 locally produced nanosatellites, which made up the country's first maritime domain awareness satellite, MDA-SAT constellation, were launched from Cape Canaveral in the United States as part of the American aerospace company SpaceX Transporter 3 mission. The Algerian Space Agency. The Algerian Space Agency was established in 2002. The Algerian Space Agency helps the government to come up with space strategies, including the use of the country's 6 satellites in the facilitation of scientific research and telecommunication. The North African country hopes to use its space technology to improve its social and economic development. Recently, the Algerian Space Agency signed treaties with the various space agencies from international partners such as France, Ukraine, Argentina, Russia, China, and the United Kingdom. The Algerian Space Agency consists of a central structure and 4 operational entities: Center of Space Techniques, Space Applications Center, Satellite Development Center, and Telecommunication System Operating Center. The Algerian Space Agency can boast of 6 satellites, including ALSAT 1, ALSAT 1B, ALSAT 2A, ALSAT 2B, ALSAT 1M, and ALCOMSAT 1. The Egyptian Space Agency, EXA. In an attempt to take its space ambition a notch higher, Egypt recently partnered with neighboring Sudan to launch several space programs as it endeavors to build an overall African space agency. Egypt has 4 satellites, the first of which was launched in 1998. These satellites are used for ground analysis, mainly for agricultural purposes in the Nile region. They observe the country's mainland and coastal line by taking high-resolution pictures of the land for environmental, scientific, and security purposes. Egypt's House of Representatives approved in December 2017 a law to establish Egypt's space agency. The law aims to push Egypt forward in the vital area of space and satellite technology in a way that should serve the country's national security and development objectives. EgyptSat-1 was a remote sensing satellite that was launched on April 2007 at Baikonur Cosmodrome. Control and communication was lost on July 2010. The satellite weighed 100 kg and contained a multispectral imager for Earth observations. The Egyptsat-1 was capable of photographing sites on Earth, and its launch came after Egypt awarded a tender to Ukraine to construct the satellite. Under the agreement, 60 Egyptian scientists were trained by Ukraine with the aim of Egypt developing the capability to operate the satellite independently. Ghana, the Ghanaian Space Program. The Ghanaian Space Program is the youngest in Africa, only having been established some years ago. Despite its dwindling progress, the program is a representation of the country's big ambitions. It is operated by the Ghana Space Science and Technology Center, whose main task is to coordinate research across the West African country in key areas such as satellites, communications, and remote sensing. Ghana plans to launch its first satellite in 2018. The Ghana Space Science and Technology Institute was officially opened on May 2012 as Ghana's first space science, space exploration, astronomy and technology space agency. It is an institution under the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. Ghana Space Agency aims to become an arena of excellence in space science, space exploration and space technology through teaching, learning, private space flights and space research commercialization. The Center and Space Agency will also allow scientists and astronauts to conduct research into astrophysics, remote sensing, national resource management, weather forecasting, agriculture, and national security. The Ghana Space Agency first flagship project is the Ghana Radio Astronomy Project, which will see the abandoned Vodafone Earth satellite station at Kuntuse near Accra, which have the 32-meter dish turned into a radio astronomy telescope. The Ghana Space Agency is working with China National Space Administration to engage with astronauts, students, and young professionals about collaboration with the Center and Space Agency, and it has already embarked on outreach program to schools and astronauts to scientific sites. Nigeria, National Space Research and Development Agency. On top of being the largest economy in Africa, Nigeria has a highly advanced space program operated by its own space agency, the National Space Research and Development Agency (NSRDA), which was established in 2001 with the primary objective of establishing a fundamental policy for development of space science and technology with an initial budget of $93 million. The agency is based in the Nigerian capital city of Abuja in the Lugbe district and has a ground receiving station among other various sites. It has had cooperation in space technology with the United Kingdom, China, Ukraine, and Russia. The agency has struggled with meeting its financial plans and some of its facilities are down. Despite this, the space agency is one of the most advanced space agencies in Africa, boasting of 4 satellites and very grand ambitions. Nigeria's satellites have been praised for their high-resolution images. The West African nation has so far launched 5 self-made satellites that are used for various tasks, including performing environmental and scientific studies in the larger Niger Delta and locating terrorists from the region terror group Boko Haram. Nigeria's first telecommunication satellite, known as NIGCOMSAT-1, was launched in May 2007 and was designed to offer phone, television, and internet coverage across Africa. But it was later shut down due to lack of substantial solar power. Its replacement, NIGCOMSAT-1R, was launched in December 2011 and utilizes a DFH-4 band to bring telecommunication services to the larger West Africa. Nigeria Sat-1 was the first Nigerian satellite and built by a United Kingdom-based satellite technology company, Sure Space Technology Limited, under the Nigerian government sponsorship for $30 million. The satellite was launched by Cosmos 3M rockets from Russian Plesetsk spaceport on September 2003. Nigeria Sat-1 was part of the worldwide disaster monitoring cancellation system.